You are listening to Fantha Tracks.
It's time to spin round the rim. This is Desert Planet Discs. Star Wars music in a single file. Here are your hosts, Carl Bayless and Greg Robertson.
Who said Baby Yoda? Baby Yoda!
You've taken your first step into a larger world.
Hello, and yes, you have just taken your first step into a larger world. My name's Carl, and I'm one of your hosts on Desert Planet Discs. And joining me, as always, for this special edition of the show is my partner in crime, Greg Robertson, aka Darth Elvis. Hi there, Greg. How's it going?
Hot dang! I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
Very well. And glad
Happy
to
Star Wars Podcast Day, sir.
Yes, happy Star Wars Podcast Day. Happy to be celebrating for hopefully some new listeners out there. Star Wars Podcast Day will be how you found us. For our regular listeners, Star Wars Podcast Day is the second annual Star Wars Podcast Day set up by the guys and gals over at Star Wars Podcasts and Podcasters Facebook group in celebration of the anniversary in 1999 on the 7th of February, the very first recorded iteration of a Star Wars related podcast, Jedi Talk, premiered. And yeah, the guys over at the Star Wars Podcast Facebook group have took it upon themselves to mark that historic day with an annual celebration. Now, last year, they got somewhere in the region of 100 shows all to record or release their episodes to celebrate Star Wars Podcast Day. And this year is looking every bit as successful. I think by the end of January, there were over 85 shows signed up. So hopefully in the intervening week, a few more have signed up, and we collectively will have broken last year's total.
Got to be done, surely. It's got to be done. Even if we have to come back and record several more podcasts,
several extra shows. Yeah.
We're on board for doing that. Before we move on, it was kicking off tonight's show. We had the mighty Friends of the Force Blues Harvest, one of the UK's finest bands, with a Star Wars medley, which was recorded live in Preston from their Made in Space album. It's available to buy on Bandcamp, Spotify, you name it, go and find it. It's a fantastic live album. I had the distinct pleasure of supporting them that night, along with Pop-Up Puppet Theatre, which was brilliant, as always. So if you haven't heard Blues Harvest and you enjoyed that, go buy the album.
Yeah, and that kind of leads us neatly into what are we all about? For anybody that's not listened to the show before and has found us through the hashtags of hashtag Star Wars Podcast Day or hashtag SWPD 2022, we are a Star Wars music and chatter show. We play music from all around the world, featuring either Star Wars themed or people who have been heavily influenced by Star Wars. And we also take in interviews with people from the music world who have been influenced by Star Wars, or indeed actors, voiceover artists that have been involved in Star Wars and also have equally prolific careers in the music world. Greg will now list some of those wonderful people that have so far guested.
Yeah, we've been very lucky. We had Blues Harvest on for a Blues Harvest special around the time the release Made in Space.
Yeah.
Good friend Level Up Leroy, who's one of the world-renowned geek DJs. He does some incredible video DJ sets, some great mashup tunes, always getting all the geeks up on the dance floor dancing. Fantastic and great guy. We've had Mark Hamilton from Ash, another fantastic band that grown up listening to and got some very close ties to Lucasfilm, including having the track Clones by them featured on the game Republic Commando. We had Julie Dolan, or in fact, you interviewed Julie Dolan. I was missing from that one. Toby Jepson from the Little Angels, and I was just saying Backyard Babies, not Backyard Babies.
Yeah, Wayward Sons.
Wayward Sons, there we go.
Yes.
Yes, we've been lucky to feature some great musical guests over the time, people who've had involvement in the Star Wars movies, who have played at Star Wars rap parties, and people who gig all over the world playing geeky music for people like us.
There you go. We've been going for nearly 4 years now.
Wow.
Yes. And
episodes down, that's pretty good.
yeah.
Yeah, you'll be able to, if you like what you hear tonight, you can go back and listen to our many, I'm going to say, backing tracks. Our historical tracks with episodes recorded are all available on all the different podcasting sites.
Spotify, SoundCloud. And that's also where you will find the other shows from the Fantha Tracks network, of which we are part. So other shows on the network include Making Tracks, which is weekly news and comment show. Planet Leia, which is all about the Star Wars universe from a female perspective. Canon Fodder, which is our literary podcast talking all things books, comics, and the world of publishing. Our good friend Adam from Australia, who runs a podcast called The Fantha from Down Under, giving us the viewpoint from the other side of the world. And Start Your Engines, the much heralded podcast, which is a bit of an in-joke, but it's looking into the ships and vehicles of the Star Wars universe.
I look forward to the episode talking about the N1 Starfighter.
Yes. yes. But we won't go into that too much on here.
No,
it's a bit of a spoiler for people. So something we can talk about that isn't hopefully too much of a spoiler because it's been around for a good while is the prequels.
Indeed, yes.
Indeed. And as well as having esteemed musical guests join us for podcasts, as mentioned at the top of the show, Greg is also one of those esteemed musical artists that we feature on the show under his alter ego of Darth Elvis. Has played celebrations in London and Chicago, as also mentioned, done several shows with our friends Blues Harvest, and is currently producing and releasing music under the name of Darth Elvis and Friends.
Yes, indeed, and one of those friends is yourself.
Yes.
We're lucky to have some very talented friends, including Mr. Carl Bayliss, or Mooncat Drums as he's known in his drumming world, and Andy Leith, who is a multi-talented musician and, well, the man wears too many hats: puppeteer, video editor, lightsaber, rotoscoping genius.
Yeah.
So he plays multiple instruments on the tracks, as do yourself, good sir. And this song we're going to play for you in a few minutes is just gone up on YouTube in the last week, not the last few days. And it's getting some great listens and getting some great feedback, and including from the man himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, so the subject of Greg's latest tune is none other than General Grievous, and we reached out through the Force and gave the voice of General Grievous, Matt Wood, a sneak preview of the video, and we got a one-word review back which just said, amazing.
I'll take that.
We're taking that as an endorsement.
So interesting that this song, General Grievous, regular listeners to the show will have heard the name too many times. A gentleman by the name of Martin Keeler. I'm sure many of the other podcasters out there will know Martin. He's very well known in the Star Wars community. Great guy, my best man at my Vegas wedding, and he's just a fantastic guy.
Hasbro shill.
He is indeed Hasbro shill. He actually suggested this one to me many years ago. I think probably as long as 5 or 6 years ago. And I've had this one written for about 5 or 6 years, and it's just sat gathering dust in my Word filing cabinets online to be dusted off by Darth Elvis and Friends. So here we go. I hope you enjoy it. General Grievous, if you like what you hear, go and watch the video on YouTube and leave us a like and subscribe and drop a comment or two. Let us know what you think, and stay tuned for more from Darth Elvis and Friends.
Crush 'em, make 'em softer. Your own general grievance. Someone to kill your clones, leave nothing but bones. Your own general grievance. Someone to kill your clones, give lightsabers new homes. Origins unknown and he's all alone, stealing Jedi scum. Give up your lightsaber, you know he's a collector. Carve and make him softer. You must realize. Crush and make him softer. Crush and make him softer. Crush and make him softer. Crush them. Crush and make him softer. Activate ray shields.
So that was Darth Elvis and Friends, featuring both Greg and myself, and the amazingly talented Andy Lith with General Grievous, which, as you will now know, is a parody of the Johnny Cash version of the Depeche Mode track, Personal Jesus. So, as Greg said, if you like that, there's plenty more where that came from.
Oh, yes.
So head over to YouTube, search for Darth Elvis, and you will be able to find all of the videos, including, I think there's some live footage up there as well, Greg, from #Cantina.
There is indeed, yeah. #Cantina. Yeah, some very early Darth Elvis gigs, including my now 14-year-old son when he was, I think, about 4. So, yeah, some 10-year-old footage up there of us playing in Kirriemuir, the birthplace of Bon Scott.
There you go. There you go. Rock and roll anecdotes all the way.
Yes, indeed. So, yes, go check it out, please. Thank you very much.
You're listening to Fantha Tracks. Flip through the galaxy of literature with Cannon Fodder hosts Brian Cameron, Matt Booker, Mark Newbold, and Mark Mulcaster.
Count me in.
Spin round the rim with Desert Planet Discs. Your musical journey through the space lanes with your hosts, Carl Bayliss and Greg Robertson.
The hottest tunes this side of Mos Eisley.
Get the latest news, interviews, reviews, and much more on Making Tracks with your hosts, Mark Newbold and Mark Mulcaster.
Like an Ewok battle wagon out of control.
Join hosts Claire Henry and a rotating panel of guest hosts for the podcast that's full of hope. Planet Leia.
I love you. I know.
It's time to head south with the Fantha from Down Under, Adam O'Brien.
Oh, g'day, mate. How you going?
Start your engines with Paul Naylor and Mark Newbold as they lift the hood on starships, airspeeders, swoops, capital ships, and more from across the cosmos. And for everything in one location, daily news, reviews, interviews, podcasts, video, and social media feeds. Bookmark FanthaTracks.com for Star Wars news 24/7, 365.
So, Desert Planet Discs isn't just a vehicle for us to plug Greg's amazing output. We also...
Oh.
No, don't worry. We'll still play your stuff, don't worry.
Oh, thank you.
But we also search high and wide through the internet, get suggestions through from fans for artists and bands that we should feature. Some of the regulars that we feature on the show are music artists such as Royish Good Looks, who is obviously famous for the Adele Hello from the Dark Side parody, Galactic Empire with their techno rock renditions of the John Williams theme. Some of the discoveries we've made over the last 12 months include a Polish band by the name of Bantha Rider, another band by the name of Bespin Moons, bands like High Adventure, who are well known to the fan circuit, and
the Yavin 5.
Yavin 5, Nerf Herder.
Blues Harvest, obviously, we played.
Blues Harvest, as we've already mentioned.
Level Up Leroy. We've got the favourite, the Sgt. Pepper's.
Oh, Palette Swap Ninja.
Palette Swap Ninja.
Yeah. Anybody that hasn't likes Star Wars or the Beatles, or Star Wars and the Beatles, should look up Palette Swap Ninja, which was a project from a good few years ago now, around the time of the 50th anniversary of Sgt. Pepper's, and these guys did a reworking of the entire Sgt. Pepper's album with the story of A New Hope, and it is just absolutely brilliant. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, can't recommend that enough. Princess Leia stolen Death Star
plans. Yes.
Yeah, highly recommend that. Go and check them out. And we always make a point, if you like what you hear from any of the artists, please go and support them. If they're playing a live show, get tickets. If they've got a new release CD, go buy it. Go buy some T-shirts, because it's during, obviously, the last couple of years of the pandemic, it's been quite tricky for musicians, I think, out there to obviously make any money. They've not been able to perform, and it's supporting them, which is fantastic. And the reason why we're here is to enjoy their music. So, yeah. Go and check out the artists.
Yeah, and as you will have picked up, both Greg and myself are, I was going to say working musicians.
Steady on.
Slightly broken musicians.
Definitely broken, that's absolutely.
So we know only too well, how much promotion plays into being even moderately successful as an artist out there. So, we do urge that you support the artists we play, download their music, tell people the same as we do with the podcasts. If you like what we do, share it, tell people.
If you've got any particular Star Wars themed bands or music or songs that you've heard and you think would be interested in playing on the show, just drop us a line.
Absolutely. radio@fanthatracks is how you can get hold of us.
.com.
And in fact, in our next show, which will be out when this airs later this week, but was actually recorded before this episode.
Where we plug this episode.
Yeah, where we pilot this episode. So yeah, it's a little bit Doctor Who in there. We played a version of the Book of Boba Fett theme by a Brazilian drummer, which was shared by one of our friends and listeners over in Brazil. Said, check this guy out. And that's what we did. So we're only too happy to help share music across the world.
The galaxy.
And the galaxy, indeed. And with that in mind, yeah, that's kind of at the end of this little taster episode for you. Obviously, if you are listening because of Star Wars Podcast Day, you've got one less podcast to listen to now. But you could still have about 100 to go. So we thought we'd keep this one a little bit brief. And we're going to play out with another of our discoveries, which is a project by the name of the Electric Moog Orchestra. And this is a vintage 70s project where, again, the Star Wars theme music and various themes from A New Hope were rendered using only the wonderful synthesizers of Mr. Bob Moog. And this is the Electric Moog Orchestra's rendition of The Throne Room and End Titles. So on that note, we shall leave you and bid you a happy Star Wars Podcast Day.
Happy Star Wars Podcast Day, everyone. Hot dang.
Hot dang. Thanks for listening to Desert Planet Discs. If you want to stay part of the action and up to date on all the latest Star Wars news, check out the Fantha Tracks app via the App Store on your mobile device.
You can contact us via email at radio@fanthatracks.com. Comment, like and share on any of our social media feeds at Fantha Tracks, and be sure to subscribe. Leave a review, preferably a 5-star one, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcatcher or smart speaker of choice.
Don't forget to head to fanthatracks.com/radio, home of Fantha Tracks Radio, and follow us on our social media feeds at Fantha Tracks, and bookmark fanthatracks.com for all the latest in Star Wars news.
Coming up next on Fantha Tracks Radio, it's Making Tracks.